Welcome back to Power Word Crit, everybody. My name is Corrin. With me are 4 nifty players. They are...
I'm Kayla, and I am playing Celestine.
I am Ander, and I am playing Fourth of the Sleeping Lily of the Hungry Moon, which is Lilic's actual name. It just translates differently.
That's cool. I'm Ashlyn. I am playing Izzy.
I'm David, and I am playing Lord Usaka von Pride.
So before we go into the summary, I want to get all of your guys' feelings about what happened last time. There were some feelings at the end of the game, so let's get them all out.
Meditative breathing over here. Don't smash the chair any further.
Seething, burning rage. If I could level into barbarian.
I think we're handling it very differently.
I do hear that we get to have level 4 as our next level up. You could always multi-class.
Nope.
That would take an interesting turn for Izzy's character.
In honor of Kurt, I must take a level in barbarian.
Trauma does this.
Take the path of the lumberjack.
Yes.
Path of plaid. That's what we were saying.
Path of
Plaid,
plaid.
that's
yes.
right. Now that you guys are sufficiently angered.
I'm over it now.
Okay. Last time, the party investigated the Greer Bakery.
Yes.
Unbeknownst to the group, it was a bakery full of warlocks. After a grueling battle, the party was knocked out with sleep powder. They woke up a minute later in a strange room chained to the floor. Izzy, realizing she could switch places with her echo, attempted to ambush the warlocks who were behind the door. Unfortunately, this tactic failed and the party was knocked out again. When they came to a second time, they were bound and gagged. They heard someone talking and learned that it was Mina all along.
Remind our audience who Nina is, perhaps.
So Mina was the old lady that Wesley had met in the knitting group.
The chance PC that we found in the tavern.
Who introduced Lilic to the rest of the party.
After Wesley died.
Who also was the one standing outside of Varden's estate when Wesley died.
And was spreading lots of rumors about Lord Paradin as well, I believe.
Maybe Lilic is a plant.
Ooh, plot twist.
Dun, dun,
no.
dun.
And this is where Mina goes, "Thank you, Lilic. You've been a wonderful asset to this party." And he's like, I have fooled you all.
Including yourself.
That being said, thank you, Lilic. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, it's canon.
It's canon.
What is this you speak?
So,
These darn warlocks, their bakery full of lies. We didn't even get the bread.
No, we didn't. I paid for that too. I took it out of my pocket.
Another problem to lay at their feet.
Another reason to kill them all.
I feel gypped of dinner, guys.
Celestine, you are on the floor.
Yep.
Your chair has a broken leg.
Oops.
Lilic, you have officially eaten through your bandana. You have gained your temporary hit points from said bandana. Izzy, I believe you were glaring.
Well, I can't see, but behind the blindfold, I'm glaring.
So the blindfolds were taken off at the end of last episode.
Oh, that's right.
So you could see Mina.
Yes, I'm glaring.
You are glaring, and Usarker, I'm not sure what you're doing. What are you doing?
From the beginning of this, Usarker has been thinking, and he continues to do so.
Lilic speaks up. I still not have the dates, Mina.
Oh, I get it now. You thought I was saying... Oh, I get it. You thought... That's funny. I get it
This
now.
is not funny.
Oh, but it really is.
You're a fruitcake.
Your mouth is still dried. Mina looks at you all and she says, "You guys are very meddlesome. And I'm a little confused about you." Yeah, let me speak first. I need to know, are you a part of the cult?
I mean, we don't have...
She's
Many
looking-
quizzical looks around the party, it seems like.
Yeah,
Celestine
she's looking...
shakes her head at Lilic. Lilic is looking at the party? Is that what you said, or is Mina?
I'm assuming that just...
Lilic can talk.
Yeah.
I give her a raised eyebrow.
Who would like to be the spokesperson for your group?
Guys, who has charisma?
Maybe the one without a mouth gag.
Who does not have charisma? I have -1, in fact.
It's about as good as any
You
of us.
probably want Izzy with her +2 to charisma.
I don't wait.
Do we
But I'm
really want
very
Izzy?
wise.
You
I
probably
feel like
should.
Really
most-
want Izzy?
Yours might be rolled with disadvantage.
Uh-huh.
No, Mina. We are not of cult. Cult has caused problems.
See, I have a problem believing that.
Look at hands.
What
Show
about
hands.
what about the hands? What do I need to know about the hands? Is there something special about the hands?
Can I see anything on her hand? From my very awkward vantage point on the ground?
Plot twist, she's wearing gloves.
Ah!
Probably.
Knitting gloves.
Plot twist, she has knitting gloves. Do those even exist?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know
Those,
that.
like,
Yeah, they help
fingerless
with like
gloves?
joint relief and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
No, she's not wearing gloves. Celestine, go ahead and make a perception check sideways.
Can be very. Let's see.
Maybe glinting in the torchlight, you might see the back.
Starting
of her
off
hands.
well with an unnatural 20.
Ooh.
Okay. So you look at her hands, and her hands look fairly clear and from what you can see. And let me describe this room really quick for you guys,
Oh,
just
yes,
so
that
you
we can
can kind of get a feeling for what situation y'all are in. So this room, just from what you guys can see, the room is fairly large for a room. It's about a 45 by 50 foot room. You see 4 wall sconces that are lit in front of you, and based on the lighting situation, you can tell that there may be a couple behind you as well. The walls are completely stone, but they look mildly damp, like maybe you are underground somewhere. Mina is facing you, sitting on a chair, as I said before. The 3 bakers standing behind her, not right behind her, but enough that they are supposedly looking menacing. There is a door behind them, and it's cracked, and you all see a faint glow emanating from the area behind the door.
Oh, good. They have lights outside.
You can hear the shorter, heavier baker sniffling, and every once in a while he sneezes,
Allergies.
and he rubs his nose but tries to look menacing, even though he's full of allergies, from what you can tell. The air is warm, and the heat is coming from the door behind Mina. You can feel it traveling through into the room. And it smells kind of musty, but also like when you turn the heater on for the first time after a long winter, you know, that burning dust smell. You also smell a faint smell of bread baking.
We didn't go very far, did we?
It was the moments after or something like that, I think.
Apparently the bakery has a cellar
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
a dungeon.
So the room that you guys were in before was a different room.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So from what you can tell based on the lighting situation, Celestine cannot see any markings on the hands. And you can tell based on her reaction, she didn't really know what you were talking about. And she's kind of, her interest is piqued about the hand. What's wrong with the hands?
This one has thing to say.
Please.
This thing will withhold thing.
Are you trying to intimidate, or are you just trying to persuade her that you have more information?
Yeah, is that this one will not say unless others can say.
Oh, I apologize. I started this all wrong. I apologize. My nerves have been a little frazzled recently, trying to trying to knit the quilt for the baby. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the ambush. You kind of spooked my bakers. They were sloppy, leaving some evidence behind.
This
And-
one was helping carry bag and was attacked. This is not startled. This is planned. This is...
Dimitri, did you really do this? And Dimitri looks down. Yeah, I'm
Is this
sorry.
Dimitri's grandmother?
Dimitri, Amber, Marcus, I am ashamed of you. Tell them you're sorry right now. And they all look at you guys.
Insight check.
Go ahead. But they look at you and they're like, sorry. Like teenagers that are
Weird.
mumbling a sorry.
I don't know if she's just putting on an act to convince us,
Mhm.
or if she's being genuine. Well, I'm not gonna know.
What'd you get?
5.
You're not sure. You don't know Mina very well. In fact, you may not have actually met Mina personally beyond just seeing her in the tavern
That is true.
that
I
night.
haven't actually met her,
So you're not entirely sure.
but I'm still glaring at her.
And she turns over to them. She says, remove their bandanas. Let them talk. Let them talk. And the 3 of them do come over and pull off your
Gags.
bandanas. Yeah, they're actual bandanas
Okay.
as your gags.
Are they knitted?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Lilix was her first attempt at crochet, and so she's okay. That one's gone. But you guys wouldn't know that.
You
It's just-
chewed up her first attempt.
It's fine. It was bad.
It
So-
was bad.
But it tasted bad too, I'm sure.
This is what I said.
So the three of them do come by. They remove your gags, and you are free to talk. So tell me, what is this about hands? What is so special about hands with the cult?
I don't believe that we should be telling you, as that would be revealing state secrets. We are, after all, hired by the state in order to investigate this. Therefore, whatever you are interfering in business of the magistrate, and you are holding deputies thereof.
Oh, well, that's just sad, isn't it? But that does bring me back to my original question. I am very confused about you guys. I don't know if you are hired by the cult or if you are hired by the city or potentially both. I don't know what to think. And she starts knitting again, and you can tell this is just a tick for her.
I was like, Mina, wait, did she introduce herself? Or are we all just assuming that we... I just realized.
So
Like,
Lilith
out of
did
character,
say
we all know
Mina.
her.
Okay.
Lilith did say Mina.
I'll say, ma'am, are you not of the cult?
Oh, heavens no. The cult is bad for business.
I look back at the bakers. Are they part of the cult?
No, they're... I prefer to call us a union of sorts.
Very aggressive union.
But
you have here.
however, I've heard... I'm very confused about what you guys stand for, because I heard from a good source that the cult has put out a capture or kill bounty on a few former members, including Faradin and Terracus. You guys walked into Faradin's house, then minutes later it was rigged to blow. And then, the next day, you walked into Lord Terracus's house and walked out with a body and a bloody Terracus. So, I don't know...
That day, one of us died in Lord Feridin's house. It was not our trap. It's Feridin's trap.
That
Cult's trap.
would have been very clumsy of us to trigger our own trap.
Well, in real life, if a bomb goes off, they immediately look to see if one of the bodies is the bomb maker.
Well,
So-
they should probably also have looked at the body of the lady and figured out that it wasn't a recent kill.
However, this is why I'm confused, because I received a letter of recognition from Dimitri's sister in Green Nest, saying that you all helped save people from the cult attack and that you would be a perfect candidate to help me with my problem. So can you tell me, which one am I supposed to believe?
I can't believe I was the messenger for this.
I'm not sure I understand the confusion at all. You receive a message from
A trusted person.
the so-called general in Greenest, saying that we are the type of people you would like, and then you see us ferreting out cult activity at the behest of the magistrate, and you're confused about something. I'm not sure I understand what you're confused about.
See, that's the thing. I like to know what's going on, and I don't really know anything about you. You come into this town, and you start doing stuff, and there was also another adventuring group that came by, about a week ago, also looking for Faradin, but also possibly looking for an Ergosa on Pride.
I take it you tried to murder them too?
Oh no, I thought it was just a fluke. But then, I learn a Von Pride shows up.
Will wonders never cease.
And during this investigation, I have learned that Faradin and Ergosa were kind of buddies in their cult days. So why is Von Pride here? I mean, when I say it out loud, it sounds a little silly, but I am a person who likes to know what's going on. So, are you cult or are you not cult?
Celestine's resettling herself as she tries to get into a kind of comfortable position on the ground with a chair tied to her.
Oh,
And she's
again,
like-
I'm so sorry. Amber,
Forgot that
Amber, go get
The
the
Celestine was still on the floor.
Yeah. Amber, go get the stuff. Marcus, Dimitri, please, help her up. And Marcus and
The
Dimitri,
stuff.
they're standing over you and they're really confused because you broke the leg of the chair.
Uh-huh.
And you hear, do you have mending? No, I don't have mending. How are we going to fix this? And after a few attempts, they get you standing. And Marcus goes, I'll be right back. Dimitri is just holding you up because
Oh,
there's
no.
nothing to keep you up.
I mean, I got nothing. I will ask Mina while we're waiting. I was like, so you don't have much faith in us at the moment. Why would you trust anything we say right now?
And why should we trust you
That too.
when your warlocks ambushed us?
Celestine's going to remember about this time. I didn't even get my bread.
Oh, don't worry. If we come to an agreement, you will definitely get your bread and some extra things.
Mina,
Yes?
we are
Lilith?
not cults. Dragons killed my village. I am here to hunt them.
Cultists killed my friend and abducted my other friend.
You seem very keen to make friends now, but I believe that last we checked there were dead bodies lying on the ground in your bakery from your ambush.
Dead bodies.
Uh-oh.
I don't believe there were any dead bodies
They
there.
forgot to tell Mina about the one person
There
who
was
didn't
one
make it out.
civilian in the bakery.
She immediately looks over to Dimitri.
Oh.
And you all can see his face go white. We'll talk about this later, Dimitri. And he gulps. After a few more moments, you see Amber and Marcus returning, and they're both carrying a table.
Ooh, I get a table?
Yeah, so they plop the table in front of Mina. It's very awkward. It's like they don't really know what they're doing. Izzy, they drag you to one side of the table. Usarker, they drag you to another side.
Oh, no.
Lilac, they drag you to...
So we're tied
The
up
other
on
side-
chairs, but sitting at a table.
Yeah, and Celestine,
Gotta make this appear
I
civilized
don't know where
somehow.
they're putting me.
Celestine, Marcus runs out and returns again with another chair
I'm impressed.
to
Just
like
propped it up
to
against.
prop it underneath the broken leg because like that was the best he could come up with. So you're kind of tilted forward. And all four of you feel one of your hands loosen, so you have one hand free. And she says,
We can do thumb wars now, guys.
you can do thumb wars. So your torsos are still tied, but you can move your forearm with your elbow. So like you have half of your arm movement.
Okay, so we can shake hands, essentially.
You can shake hands. It's pretty uncomfortable, but you can do that. Marcus runs out again, comes back with a box, and you hear sloshing. And he puts down a pitcher of milk and plates, and he starts dishing out cookies to everyone. She says, "This is my apology. I am so sorry. Again, they got spooked. This is not how I do business. They will be dealt with accordingly. However, I will have to leave you tied up because I'm still not convinced. But feel free to have cookies and milk." And she takes one of the cookies off of Celestine's plates and eats it. And she says, "See, they're totally fine. I promise I won't poison you. That's not my thing."
I still don't understand why you had to capture us.
Well, they didn't. Again, you spooked them. They panicked. So we've been keeping an eye on you.
Obviously.
And I told them to just watch out, see if they can determine if you were cult or not cult. Unfortunately, you walked into the bakery and found some evidence that they forgot when we took Sir Colart.
So why did you take Sir Colart?
Yeah, that is a good question.
Aside from the fact that he used to be part of the cult.
Oh, well, he was one of my contacts. I had a package delivered, and the handoff was supposed to be in Candlekeep. It was a very important package. I'm a collector of sorts. And I had sent my grandson to go pick up this package. He had sent word that he'd received the package, and he was going to stay the night in Green Nest. But then, Green Nest was attacked. And according to the letter that I received from Greer's sister, he was not there the next day. I believe the cult took my grandson and possibly my item.
Wait, what's your grandson's name?
My grandson's name?
Is
Don't-
Lenathan.
Don't. Oh, no.
Oh, jeez.
Madam Mudface.
No, please.
Champion.
I'm waiting for it to be Jaden, personally.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Well, that would really mess with Izzy's backstory.
Yes,
Just
it
saying.
would.
Do we know who?
Jaden was
Grandma
adopted.
Mina?
Do we know who Jaden's grandmother is?
No.
I will make one up right now just to make it so it's not Mina.
His name is Ernadin. We call him Ernie for short. He did not return. He was not found. General Greer did look for him, and he was not there. The cult, for some reason, took my grandson, and the item was not recovered either.
They stole a lot of items in Greenest.
They did.
I'm learning this.
And kitchen sinks.
That's weird.
We agree.
You should
On
have
that
seen
we
the
agree.
kobold. You should have seen the kobold wielding it.
That sounds like a spectacle I would love to see. A mural
We're
of
getting
that.
distracted.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted. I need to know that I can trust somebody who knows about the cult, who's dealt with the cult, to get my grandson back.
You
The
have a
cult-
terrible way of hiring people. This is not the way to do it.
Again, you made my warlocks panic. They will be dealt with accordingly. This is not how I
Unbiased.
expected.
If your warlocks are dealt with accordingly, I assume you're going to turn them into the local guard so that they can be tried for murder.
Possibly.
Insight.
Go ahead.
Do I even need to?
Yeah.
Might as well.
She's obviously not.
8.
She might.
We would be more amenable to be dealing with you if you were not tied up. The hand is a step, but only just.
Please try the cookies. They're new. They're like a shortbread, and we've put some fudge on top of it.
You sound like Keebler.
This was not my request.
Please try it. It's going to take some time to untie you. And she snaps her fingers, and they start untying you.
Now I would like to roll an insight check. How do the warlocks feel about this? Because they not long ago were in a fairly life or death fight with us.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, they had the advantage, but now she's asking them to untie us and everything else. Are they starting to look nervous? Like,
Do an insight check.
we don't want to be involved in this? Or nice and low? 10.
Well, the good thing for you is that Marcus doesn't know how to keep a straight face. He is looking kind of nervous. He's getting more and more nervous as they are letting you go. Dimitri looks a little nervous, but doesn't quite look like he's ready to barf, like Marcus is.
Oh, but he should. I really want to know if Mina's his grandma. He's so screwed.
What rank of life does this woman look like she comes from?
You mean like, is she a commoner or like a noble or something?
Sure.
Or... She's dressed somewhere between upper middle class or a noble. She could be dressing down or dressing up.
What about her mannerisms, her affectation, and things like that, other signs and tells?
She is clearly giving off the air of prominence.
Okay.
And that she is at least in charge of these 3 people.
And I'm not looking for if she's a person in authority, because she's obviously in charge, but you're saying that she does look like she comes from a noble background.
Or noble adjacent, maybe.
Okay.
So,
I'll take one for the team. I'll try a cookie and see if I...
How does it compare to your husband's cookie?
I mean, there's that too. How does it compare to my husband's cookies?
roll a d20.
I am biased. I should get advantage or disadvantage. I don't know which way.
I'll say if it's over a 9, your husband's is better. A 9 or over.
Okay.
No, you know what? I'll say an 8 or over.
Okay. I rolled a 13 on the first die. Do you want me to roll a second one or?
No, that's
Okay.
fine. You're biased. Your husband's is much better. However, the fudge, this is a secret you might have to take back to your husband.
Okay, the fudge. I will have to remember this. Fudge on top of shortbread.
Made by murderers.
I technically don't know who made this one.
Made with black magic.
Possibly.
They sold their souls to get this.
There is
What
that
do you
possibility.
think? It's new.
Can I ferret out a little more information about what she did to it?
She baked it. I mean, you're-
good. I'm glad it was baked.
Yeah,
Not the
You've-
time.
you've
says
had
the-
your
fine.
you've had your husband's cookies before. It tastes like, because you are definitely a connoisseur and you know exactly what goes into your husband's cookies. They didn't use fresh butter.
You have to use fresh butter. You can really taste the difference.
She looks back. Amber, did you not use fresh butter? Go get fresh butter and make new ones. And this is the first time you've seen her get a little bit angry.
She's
Amber goes-
more angry at the not perfectly made cookies over the fact that someone died in their bakery.
Do you know what evil people
You're not
look like?
entirely, first of all, you're
Yeah.
not entirely sure if the person died. You just know that they got a little nervous about that.
They got blown out by a thunderstep.
There
I'm
was
pretty
someone-
Sure they're dead.
There was somebody else in
Or
there.
at least seriously wounded.
Yeah, you're not sure if they died.
Pretty sure they
I don't
died.
know. It was like 20 points of damage.
It was.
Easily more than double their hit points. And probably multiple times.
Could've-
You don't
could've been
know.
a very
You have no
stout
idea
commoner.
what happened to the lady.
She may have been retconned into a really, really high-ranking guard.
Maybe.
An off-duty guard. That's a thing.
You've met a lot of guards in this town. I mean,
Maybe
they could
it
have
was
been 30 seconds away from retirement. You have no idea.
I was gonna say maybe they just had their retirement.
That's true.
Oh, that's true.
They were picking up a retirement cake.
Oh, no. Not fresh butter. Amber
I will
looks
admit,
very scared.
I will
and runs
admit,
out.
the fudge is a masterpiece on this.
Thank you, my dear. So, because you have received a letter of recognition, and General Greer is very much a good judgment of character.
And Celestine obviously is pretty good too. I'm a connoisseur of cookies,
Indeed. And you have very good taste in cookies.
obviously.
I would like to propose something to you. I will give you Sir Colart. I will let you take the recognition for finding Sir Colart. And I will give you the information that he has given me on the cult.
So, remind me again why you had him all tied up again? Because he failed to... I can't remember what his part was in all of this.
You haven't asked. She hasn't told you anything about it.
Wait. So, why do you have Sir Colart tied up in your basement again?
Oh, he was a known member of the cult, and
Mhm.
I assumed he was part of the stuff. We just needed information on how the cult worked.
You hoped that you could retrieve your missing grandson an item if you interrogated him on the workings of the cult.
Correct.
Regardless of the fact that he hasn't been part of the cult for who knows how many years, and who knows if the cult even operates the same today.
Well, he would know some of the safe houses of the cult, and he did give us a little bit of information on that.
Ooh.
We did get some interesting information about the organization itself. However, he did not know where the new base is. We know that they're traveling somewhere, they're traveling somehow. I don't know how they're getting through without anybody noticing that a mass group of people is just traveling and nobody noticed. So here's the deal. I will give him to you, and I will give you the information that he has given us. I'll let you take the recognition. But I would also like to hire you to return my grandson to me. I will give you 500 gold pieces each if you return him to me. If you find the item, I will give you 1,000 gold. If you figure out how they're moving the stuff and where they're holding it, I will give you 1,500 each.
Man.
This lady is loaded?
And I was going to say that this is the favored grandchild, apparently, but then his life is also the same price as the artifact, so I'm not sure. It could go either way.
And much cheaper than their travel expense itinerary.
If Ernie does not come back to me, you will get nothing. If he is dead.
We would have nothing anyways.
She's saying that if we have the artifact, we might as well keep it if he's dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
If Ernie does not come back, you get nothing.
That's assuming that he's even alive if we ever do find him. If we agree to this.
Yes.
Okay, so grandson,
So who's to say
artifact,
he's not already
location.
dead?
Well, you better hope not.
Ina, we take deal. We go. And Lilac stands and begins walking towards
I
the
know.
door.
you try to stand, but the tethers weren't quite off of you yet. You stand up and like, oof. And then the tethers finally fall off, and then you finally get up because
Yeah.
they weren't quite done untying you.
Come.
I will deal with my bakers promptly and swiftly, and I promise they will be dealt with accordingly based on their crimes.
Lilac is out the door, turning to look at you all.
I'm going to stand up.
Celestine slowly processing everything, trying to figure out if we have enough if we were to continue and actually go find Ernie.
I don't know if I can trust you.
I don't know if I can trust you.
But if it's within my abilities to find your grandson and return him to you, I will do everything in my power to do so.
Thank you.
Oh, can she describe Ernie to us, please?
Has she ever described any of the things? Ernie,
I'm just
the
gonna go
artifact-
find
we
a bunch
just
of prisoners
are
and be
looking
like,
for
"Are you
an
named Ernie?"
item.
I also kind of want to find
Does she
out if
bring
it's...
her back like it's a wooden rabbit.
I kind of want to find out if it's Jaden in disguise. So,
No. Lilith's
Covering
motivation
grounds.
for saying we'll take the deal is
Just
that's
so
what she
people-
wants us to hear, and we lose nothing by saying yes and leaving.
we get freedom, and we don't have to
So-
do the job.
Yeah.
She didn't say or else.
I said my piece and I walk towards the lick.
So I'm assuming I get a description of Ernie. We don't have to give one, but
She reaches into her pocket and she pulls out a picture of Ernie and she says, "This is my grandson. Please bring him back to me.
I'm assuming she probably wants to keep it.
Please bring that back to me. That is very important to me."
I'm gonna leave it here because I'm not gonna be responsible for keeping a piece of paper unburnt and
I mean-
uncrumpled and
It would be useful to show people.
That's true. We'll bring the picture. I'll put it in Usarker's journal or something.
Be very, very
safe.
well safe there.
It will be very safe.
Rather than you putting it in there, how about you give it to me and let me put it in there?
Is it Jaden?
No.
Do you give it to Izzy?
Yes.
It is not Jaden. No.
Okay. I had to make sure.
Ashlyn is wiping her brow of the sweat that had gathered there.
The
He's
name
got-
keeps coming
No,
up.
he's got like bright orange hair tied into
Oh,
a man
okay.
bun. I mean,
That's
doesn't look
definitely
anything-
not Jaden.
doesn't
Did
look
we see
anything-
him at all during the raid? Now that we have a picture of him.
We saw a lot of people.
Yeah,
Go ahead and make
we
a
saw lot
history
of
check.
people.
Yes, but he has
With-
orange hair.
with disadvantage. You did meet.
I
a
mean,
dwarf
Wesley's
with orange
family
hair.
was all like
11.
red hair.
It's true.
You-
you saw Wesley.
It's true.
Yeah, you remember seeing a few red-headed, orange-headed people. I mean, Wesley was one of them.
The Eldridge family.
The whole Eldridge family, practically Weasleys at that point. Unfortunately, when you're trying to think back to like the prisoners, none of them really looked like them, and you were the closest to seeing them, but none of
Mhm.
them really looked like him.
Okay, got it. Well, I guess let's go and recoup, and then we'll come back for Sir Colart. Actually, do we want to have her deliver Colart to the magistrate? Or
She
do we...
said she would let you take the recognition and stuff. So,
Mina, what
yes.
is the item?
Oh, yes.
You lost it.
This is very important to understand what that item is.
It is hard to grab if we do not know what it is.
The item is in a very secure long box,
Okay.
a very well crafted cherrywood box. I would highly suggest not opening it.
Does, like, death follow it if you open it?
I'm a collector of oddities.
So there might be dead bodies around it if someone opened the box.
Maybe.
This
Okay.
is
It
big
would be
box,
better-
this is little box, this is...
Oh, that's true. Like,
You said long like spear, long like arm.
She tells you that it's long, not as long as a spear, however, it could be, scepter sized or maybe like a long wand sized.
okay, so it's a handful. It's an
Yeah.
armful.
It's wide. So like think of the box as like a 2x4, like a bunch of 2x4 stuck together, but a little
Mhm.
bit longer. That's basically what the
Okay.
box is, but it's cherry wood.
Okay, sounds good.
I highly suggest you do not open the box. This is not a threat, this is a warning.
Which implies that the box can be opened, and I will remind you that the people you're dealing with are very
Mhm.
prone to opening everything, so undoubtedly it's open already and been removed from the box, and whoever opened it is affected by whatever effect was on that, and the item is no longer in the box.
The mummified cat. Goes,
Okay.
Everyone now has mummy rot in the cult. So you're not dealing with the cult of the dragon, you're dealing with the
she can't
mummy
tell
cult of
us
the dragon.
what's in it because she doesn't know. She thinks it's Schrodinger's cat,
Hmm.
but she doesn't know.
She's got Schrodinger's cat, but she
Yeah.
hasn't found it yet.
Yeah,
Or hasn't opened the box
and
yet.
she doesn't. She
and if
doesn't know
and
if
if you
it's in there.
see the cat, then it won't be Schrodinger's cat anymore.
Exactly. So we can't open the box.
I will deliver Sir Colart to the authorities. You don't have to worry about that. And he will confess to his crimes.
Were there crimes? Just curious.
The
Not,
only
I don't.
crimes
I don't
we've
need to
seen
know
have been
what
theirs.
crimes. I'm just curious if there were crimes.
Internally, Lilic is like, we will never see Colart again.
Well, I'm good. You guys good? Where's our stuff?
Well, I believe that this ill-fated meeting is over then. I think we should be off.
Where's our stuff?
Your stuff will be returned to you when you walk through that door.
I walked
And
through
she
the
points
door.
she
Mhm.
points behind you.
Yeah.
Or behind her.
Okay.
Yeah, leaving. I think that we're done here.
I grab one more cookie for the road. You better not poison me with these cookies.
They're not poisoned. They carry a unique radioactive isotope, so they need to be tracked.
So as you
Poison,
guys step through the door, go ahead and just make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Yeah,
Well,
you-
we're going single file, so somebody at the back would notice something, and that's probably Celestine, because Celestine grabbed a cookie.
For what?
Wasn't Lilic the first person out the door?
I have a total of 10.
10? Okay.
And yes, Lilic was the first person out.
I have an almighty 3.
Celestine?
7.
My streak has turned around. Nat 20.
Hey,
Oh,
there it is.
You're the first one through the door.
No?
I mean,
I was right behind Lilic.
Oh, okay.
So Izzy and Lilic,
I don't know.
you
if order
step through the
matters.
door and you were actually standing in the back of the bakery. Everything looks like it was when you guys left. It's completely empty though. You don't see any flour, you don't see any utensils, you literally see nothing that you could potentially steal. But on the counter, on the baking side. So there's like the oven side, and then there's the long table
like
for
the
all
work
the baking.
table.
Yeah, the work table. You see a box of your spell components and things like that, and your scythe is sitting there.
I grab my scimitars and other belongings.
Yeah.
They're actually very well polished.
They touched my scimitars.
Usarker, yours is cleaned as well.
These ones are strange.
This kind of weirds me out even more so than everything else that's happened.
Usarker and Celestine, on the other hand,
Yep.
you step through the door, you see your stuff, and you're like, what was I doing? And it takes about 5 minutes to recall the whole conversation that you had with Mina and the Warlocks.
Celestine, Lord Pride, you okay?
I'm looking at.
Something.
Why are
has
we back
happened.
here again?
Do you
Why
not
are we in the
remember
back
the
of the
crazy
bakery?
knitting lady?
How much do we remember?
Nothing.
It takes 5 minutes.
If this
We
is
wouldn't
right
be
after
standing there for 5 minutes.
No, yeah,
probably.
we would be out of here by now, or by then. So
Yeah, you remember, like...
I remember being
bits
attacked.
Yeah, you remember being attacked.
okay, and not my.
But then
chapter.
suddenly you're standing here, and over the 5 minutes, the conversation comes back to you, and it's just kind of a weird sensation.
Okay, so
I
as
figure
we
by
walk
this point
outside-
we're like walking away from the bakery.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah. You know.
bread.
Oh,
Bread.
yes. Your bread is there. Your 3
Okay.
loaves are there.
Okay,
And also a little pack of cookies, of assorted cookies. There's like some long, thin ones. There's some chocolate-dipped ones.
okay, good.
And a little note that says, let us know how you think of these. We might put these on the market soon.
Ooh, prototypes.
This lady is crazy.
Yeah, you guys also step out, and you do notice that the sun hasn't really shifted any. So you guys were there about 5:30 in the evening, and the sun really hasn't shifted much in the sky.
So this was a matter of like 20 minutes or something like that.
Mina got here awfully fast.
So there
Or
might
she
be
was already here. hiding
Probably
the
just in
bag.
the back room. I don't know.
That's true. She could have been.
Plotting her evil plans.
Or she used
Plotting her
Dimension Door
cookies.
because they're warlocks.
maybe. You feel like there was some sort of weird timey-wimey thing that just happened when you stepped through that door.
Of course.
I'm scared, actually. If Mina's a warlock, who's her patron?
Yeah.
A patron of knitting?
That
The
being said,
yarn lord?
Probably.
So it doesn't feel like you were hit with a spell. It was just kind of you step through something and you're like, that was weird. I don't know. It just felt a little weird.
So did they give us Sir Kohler as well? Or
No.
did they
you do not
deliver
see Sir
him?
Kohler.
They're going to
Okay.
deliver him probably
Okay.
the next morning.
These people represent everything disgusting about magic users. Privileged, powerful, arrogant, willing to do whatever they want, and with no moral boundaries attached to it. Believing
cannot
themselves
argue
to be
with
above
this.
everything and everyone.
You also notice you didn't turn the back of the card over, but like when you were pulling it up, you see it says, thank you. And it says, Mina Keffler.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is baking perhaps in her, possibly a thing in her family?
Possibly.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everyone, this is David. Today I wanted to give a shout out to Desert, Edgem, Gavalium, 19 Hits the Dragon, Neuron X02, Wendigo Workshop, MI Playable, Not Like Monopoly, Monster Dig, Bard Rock Cafe, I like that one, Heads Must Roll. Want to get a shout out from a cast member of Power Word Crit? Just do one of the following. Follow us on Twitter or Facebook, or tweet about the show using the hashtag PowerWordCrit, or share a post from our Facebook page and include the hashtag PowerWordCrit, or tell us how you shared this podcast with someone by sending an email to powerwordcrit@gmail.com, and we will give you a shout out in our next episode. In the name of Izzy, it's like getting a token of power! Thanks, now back to our show. Very well, have we completed all of our increasingly unusual business? Is it time to return to the High Magistrate?
Considering that we don't know what happened to Lord Ferrodin, I would say yes.
Let us be off then, before they close up for the day.
Agreed.
So, you guys are walking down the street. It's about, you guys check a clock on the road, and it says that it's 5:45.
1 hour.
15 minutes. But you
That
swear You swear
That was so
it
much
took
longer.
a lot longer. Like, that whole
Where
conversation
did they
took a lot
put
longer.
us? What interdimensional pocket was that? What realm were we in?
It was a room with time stop.
Poor Colart's probably gonna be so messed up.
Given the
Ugh.
nature of their enchantment-based arcane magic, if we're talking different realms, possibly one that would be predisposed to overusing the sleep spell.
This one is tired. This one is at 1 HP.
I am dragging as well.
Maybe you guys should go to bed first before making a report.
Yes.
You
we-
all can go to the inn to sleep if you want. I will head on to the magistrate. These things have to be done. It's important to get it done before we get kidnapped again, after all.
Okay,
yeah,
fair.
we make a habit of such things.
I can go with. I have 7 HP.
Yeah. Let us...
Oh, shoot, habit.
Your habit
have-
was in there, and
Okay.
as you went through the box, I assume you guys are walking and dishing out all your stuff in the box.
Oh, I had to get the habit first.
Well, the habit... Okay.
not
yeah, so the habit-
not leaving until that habit's on.
Yep, so the habit's on.
Okay, good.
And as you guys are dishing everything out, you see a small folder at the bottom of the box, and it's got like a couple sheets of paper in there. It's not very thick.
Info.
I imagine that the folder has a note that says, "We will extort you later."
It could have a recipe.
or just
Yeah, I'll
instructions.
know. Probably that.
Blackmail.
Yep.
Retrieve parchment,
Mhm.
display to others because Alika's not going to try and read it.
Yeah. So what does it say on it? Just scanning through it real quick.
So scanning through it, you find out that through your investigation, you learned through Sir Colart that there is a member of the cult named Resmir. And Resmir sent out an order to find an item. It was a blue mask that was stolen from her about 6 weeks ago. 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. They're not entirely sure when it was stolen. It was stolen in transit.
Mm-hmm.
You also learn that the attack on all these little towns was orchestrated by Resmir and the cult to find said artifact for whatever reason.
So they want a blue mask. And they
They
think
want a
it's
blue
in
mask.
a tiny village?
And through reading through this, the suspicion is that whoever stole it worked with the cult before, knew how the cult transported items, and was using that network of small towns to bypass, customs of the bigger towns. And so the cult ended up attacking these towns to see if they could catch the blue mask in transit. However, it was unsuccessful as of right now. They are still going through the treasures and stuff, but they have yet to find it from when Sir Colart returned from
Okay.
the raid. He was there.
So question.
Answer.
This parchment folder, where was this again? Was this in the box of things that we retrieved from the bakery?
Yeah,
So
so
this
it was
is
the box of
information
your
given
stuff.
to us by Mina's organization?
Correct. And it was underneath all of your stuff. This is what they found out through Sir Colart.
Okay, sure. Thank you for the information, random organization.
She did say she was going to give it to you.
She did.
Yeah.
The goal of the attack was 1, to find the mask, and 2, to
Get gold.
gather resources.
Gold was definitely on their list. They weren't looking for blue items. They were looking for gold.
Yeah. The report does say that Sir Colart was also ordered to take as much gold and silver and stuff as
There we
possible.
go.
However, he doesn't know why. He just knows that he was looking for some sort of mask. That could explain why the kobolds were just stealing random stuff, because maybe it could hold a mask in there, according to, kobolds, kobold logic.
Yes.
They're also trying to look for the person who stole it. However, they're not entirely sure who. So Resmir had created a capture or kill list of notable people who potentially could have stolen the mask. Of those people, Lord Ferredin was on that list, Lord Terracus, someone named Ergosa von Pride, and there's a few other names on there, but they have question marks. They aren't entirely sure if they were actually on the hit list or not.
Okay, so
So these were people that were being targeted by the cult.
Correct.
because
Okay.
they might have the mask.
Yeah, you guys can
Okay.
deduce that these are people who would know transport items for the cult, who had been there recently enough to know the current state of the stuff, and who potentially could have betrayed the cult themselves.
Okay, so the cult stole this mask. They were trying to get somewhere. Someone stole it.
Someone stole the mask from Resmir, who was part of the cult.
Okay. So she had the mask. Someone stole it. She's looking at cult trade routes because the assumption is that...
Smuggling routes.
Yeah, she was...
Okay, so she's just looking at the smuggling routes,
She's looking at the smuggling routes because she assumed that it was a smuggler who did smuggling for the cult. Because how in the world would they know that this mask was on that transport?
Okay, where was it being transported? So it was being transported to her.
It was being transported to her.
Okay.
And from what Sir Colart gave you, it seemed to be in transport to Baldur's Gate.
Okay. So now we have two
and it was
artifacts.
stolen on that transport. Somewhere between Burdusk and Baldur's Gate.
Okay.
It was going by land. It was not going by sea.
Okay, got
So
it.
it would have gone through like Elturel and things like that.
This is all very interesting and perhaps useful, but until it is confirmed with interrogation of Sir Colart, it's all very suspect. I would suggest that when we present this particular section of information, we do so noting that nothing about this is viable until Sir Colart has been cross-interrogated to confirm or deny it.
What if we corroborate it with Lord Terracus?
Mm-hmm.
He's in custody.
Well, if another can corroborate it, then sure.
Okay.
We
we
go.
splitting? Are we all going or are we splitting?
We go.
Okay.
Sounds like we are all going.
In fact, should we go check on Lord Terracus first before reporting to the magistrate?
It's the same spot, basically.
It is, but...
Yeah. We'll say that the
Yeah.
jail
Why-
is right
why-
next to Town Hall.
I don't think
I-
there's any reason to
And there's a
disrupt
hospital on
whatever's
the
going
other
on with
side.
Terracus
Yeah.
between hospitalization, questioning him, and everything else.
Magistrate's
It's
gonna
hardly
need
our
Yeah.
position to ask him these questions.
It's not our job to interrogate him necessarily, as it was just to find him.
I wasn't necessarily mean, like, talk to him and specifically. I was more like, let's check in with the people who have been interrogating him.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Have they gotten any information from
Yeah.
him that we can include to our report to the High Magistrate?
Okay. I think Lord Stark is assuming the magistrate will have that information and can point us in the right to... Because we don't know who... I don't know who interrogated
Yeah. Well,
Lord
Terracus was just brought in today, and he was in very bad shape.
5 hours ago.
So they may not have even interrogated him yet.
Yep.
They may
Yep.
not have.
He may still be in a coma or whatever.
Okay.
To the magistrate.
You guys make your way to the magistrate's office, and as you guys get there, the sun is starting to set. That mural on the top is beautiful. It's gleaming as usual. You step up to the steps, and you notice Sanjay is there. He's the Goliath.
Oh, him. Yeah.
Oh, I've been waiting for you. Thank you for helping the magistrate. The magistrate is waiting for you. Please
Okay.
follow me.
Thank you, Sanjay.
You
This-
are very welcome.
This is the first time Lilac has been here, because last time Wesley was here.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And who might
Sanjay.
you be?
This one is Lilac. No companion. Old one died.
I am very
Yep.
sorry for your loss.
I like to think that we would have included you had you come along, even if we did have Wesley here.
He nods and thanks. Acknowledges
More
the
the merrier.
honor.
There's
from
no reason to
Heartstopper.
limit our party to just 4 people.
Absolutely no reason.
It was the
whatsoever.
simplest way to explain what happened. And so that's what Lilac went for.
Nope. I like it.
So Sanjay leads you down the hallway. You see a platter of donuts just kind of sitting in the hallway. Like it was like, bring donuts to work kind of a day. And so it's partially eaten. And as he's walking, you just see his hand go out and grab one. And he just slowly eats it on his way down. He leads you into the magistrate's office, and the magistrate says, "Oh, hello. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Come in. Please have a seat." And you see that there are multiple chairs for you guys to sit in. Thank you for delivering Lord Terracus to us. He was in very terrible condition.
How was he doing?
Ooh,
Did he
He
make
found
it?
him like that, by the way.
he is very ill. Very
Can
ill.
he talk?
He can, but he is in a lot of pain, so he may not be able to speak well yet. He is refusing magical healing. However, thank you for delivering Sir Colart to the jail. He admitted to ransacking Lord Terracus's house and stabbing him and his friend in the middle of training practice.
Training
had nothing to do
practice
with
in
Is
Sir
that
Colart.
what happened?
in
Sir
the freezer.
Colart was kidnapped by a third party who interrogated him extensively before we ever arrived on the scene. They did, however, give a variety of information, which I will leave it to you to discern the truth of, given the dubious nature of it. Which of you has that?
Lilac will hand over the folder.
In the meantime, we have, of course, as you may already know, discerned that Faradin has fled the city. He seems to be on the outs with any number of people, it would seem, and is fleeing to preserve his own skin. Lady Reynard entered into the mansion and died there with Terracus.
Well, Terracus did not die, but yes.
No,
Yes.
he's clearly alive for now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how he survives any operations. And Collart, well, after his kidnapping and beating by this third-party organization, seems willing to confess.
Oh, that's strange. He didn't look like he had a scratch on him.
Well, I'm sure that they can perform such things as healing magic. I've heard such things do exist.
Indeed. Can you give me any information about this third party?
Just making sure. Can we? We don't have any
You have a
spells.
note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So at this point, this is up to you guys if
Yeah.
you want to turn them in.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
you're
I'm
welcome
assuming we
to.
talked about it on the way there.
Lilac bows low. This one is Lilac, new companion.
Nice to meet you, Lilac.
Great Magistrate, there is an organization in your city led by one Mina
She is
Keffler.
She is the leader of the Bakers Guild, yes?
Baker's Guild attack us. Hold us prisoner.
Apparently they're not just bakers, they're also warlocks.
Or at least a handful of them are.
This is information for you.
Do with it as you will.
That's very interesting. I will definitely look into this. And they
Yeah.
write some notes down.
Lilac nods and steps back.
We don't know much about them, but their activities at least include kidnapping one person, well, 5 people, as well as Collart and ourselves,
Yes.
as well as attacking people in broad daylight in town in a bakery, which caused injuries at least and likely death.
To innocent civilians.
Oh dear, I'll have to definitely take a look at this.
And there is strong evidence that they are skilled in enchantments and manipulations, altering minds and subverting expectations and impressions.
They write all this down. We will definitely look into this.
Okay. Do we need any more information? I guess we still need to know what Terracus knows, but that can be done after sleep.
Well, now that we've delivered this, is there anything that you would like us to look at next, or do you need time to deliberate on it?
Well, I did promise you books on dragons
Oh, yeah.
and the things that we learned about the cultists.
It's been a heck of a long time since we asked for these things.
We were able to find a total of 50 books relating to dragons, the cult, and Draco Liches.
Oh my.
We can have those delivered to your...
We might just need to rent a room
Quarters.
here.
It's likely safer to keep them here rather than send them to us so that we can come and read them.
Just making sure. 50 or 15?
50.
Okay. Yes, we should just rent a room here.
I
Because
can
that's
arrange
a lot.
that. I can arrange that for you. Sanjay, please change meeting room B into a makeshift library, please. Make sure they have paper and pens and note-taking items. And Sanjay bows and leaves to go complete his task.
And
That will be done within the next hour or so.
okay. We
This
probably
is
aren't going to
good.
look for it till later.
Good. Unlike Sir Collart, we are still bleeding out, battered and bruised from our adventures. So I think then that we will go and take a nap. And bid you good evening, Magistrate.
Will do. Have a good evening, and I will have your payment ready tomorrow. Please get here by 10 a.m., and we will go over this information.
We return to the effervescent flute.
I hand out the breads to everyone and, bid them a good night, I guess.
Have you stayed at this inn yet, Lilac? It's quite nice, as far as inns go for the middle class.
I mean, he spent the night in the alley last night.
Yes.
I'm not sure the alley is quite the same level of accommodation, but I haven't slept there myself, so...
Their rubbish bins provide much salvage. I'm trying to decide if he would even choose to stay there. I think in the interest of staying close to his party, he probably would.
Just in case there's retaliation and they attack
Sure.
us while we're sleeping.
Yes.
Mhm.
Was last recently attacked when he was alone, so
Yep, true.
Yeah, you're probably still a little jumpy, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figure we're all going to bed down and get food. I'm going to have food brought up to my quarters. I'm going to spend the evening examining my equipment in fine detail. After all, they had their grubby fingers all over it.
But they polished everything.
Like I said,
Mhm.
grubby fingers.
I'm going to spend the evening making more jewelry because that's how I de-stress.
Okay.
Meditating and mending a ripped habit.
I need to re-sanctify all of my spell components. They have been discombobulated and disabused.
They feel like they have too much of a fairy/fae/bakery bent to the magic now.
Yeah, something. It's
Good for
just-
making bread, but not so much for vine growth.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you guys are still covered in the sleep powder. It's like baking baking flour. So you're still floury.
Hmm.
I'm taking a bath.
Yes.
So really quick, Izzy, go ahead and roll a d8 for me, please. This is for your jewelry
I
making.
figured. That's a 2.
So you're able to complete 2 pieces of jewelry,
Nice.
2 fairly intricate pieces of jewelry.
Okay, so these are more of my large.
Yes.
All right, would you qualify these as inexpensive or expensive? Because right now, everything that's on my belt I'm considering inexpensive.
I will leave that up to you.
Flip a D2. 20 is expensive. 1 is not expensive. It's a 1, so inexpensive it is.
Okay. Usarker, can you please roll me a d4?
3.
And Celestine, after you have no, that's not the right word.
Yeah, that is not the right word.
I realized that
again,
halfway
Corrin.
through. Once you have bathed and gotten the flour all off of you,
Okay.
you hear a knock at the door.
I carefully peek out. Actually, I ask who is it first, and then I will peek out.
It's me, Mom.
Okay, I open the door. Court, what are you doing here?
I just wanted to say hi.
I pull him in and give him a hug.
He immediately hugs you back.
Aww.
I haven't seen you in a few months, and I just wanted to say hi. Can we hang out?
Yep, yes we can. I tell him I am very proud of all the work he's done.
He smiles brightly.
Yep, becoming a man and finding his own way. Doing really well.
Thanks, Mom.
And not dying.
Yeah, that is
I will count that up right up there with all the other accomplishments.
we've had some close calls. I didn't realize how scary adventuring could be. I heard all these fun stories from you, and death is a real thing.
I usually left out a lot of the gorier... Okay. This is Celestine. Her kids grew up with gory details.
Yeah, it's just probably there were plenty of gory details
There are
as a
plenty of
battle
gory
cleric.
details. It's not much saying that she left out the gorier details.
It's different to hear about it than it is to actually experience
That
it
is
yourself.
true.
It's different to
Yes.
watch a war movie than be in a war.
That is
Serious.
true. We'll go with that type of thing.
Yeah, and he says, yeah, about that, how do you deal with the party death? You just had one recently. I just want to know, how are you doing?
Only one.
He only knows of one.
Well, it's times like those when I really, really have to spend time and embrace my faith in the gods and know that they are in a much better place now. They're with whatever god they worshipped and in a much better place. Free from, well, okay, we'll just leave it at that. I was going to say free from pain and whatnot, but it really depends on, I don't know what god you serve, so can't say that. So yeah, worship, religion is a really good place to go, and sometimes it's all right to cry because it is very sad.
Where do people go if they weren't religious?
Okay, I know where they go in David's game. Where do they go in usually?
Oh gosh, is it the Wall of Souls in Faerun? the faithless, or because their patron rejects them for whatever reason, or if they're judged false. A faithless soul received only one sentence when it reaches the city of judgment in the fugue plane to receive its judgment for its afterlife, the wall of the faithless. The soul was bound onto the wall by a great green mold that held the faithless to the wall. Over time, the soul dissolved into the very substance of the wall. Also, demons and devils, depending on, the general alignment of the person. Because soul stealing and turning them into grubs and coins is a thing.
But that wouldn't necessarily be part of what we would call the natural.
Right. No,
that's
demons and
stealing
devils
souls.
is absolutely theft and
Okay.
And I think the vast majority of people have, some element of worship because
that's just the way the world is in
Yeah.
Faerun.
The gods are everywhere. The evidences of them are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of takes a insistent thing to be faithless.
Right.
So
Celestine tells Court that most people worship a god of some sort. Very few people who are termed faithless. And if they make it all throughout their lives without having served a god or being associated with one, or if their god rejects them because of some crime they've committed against, I'm assuming against their religion, they will be sent to the Wall of the Faithless, where they spend the rest of eternity, I guess, stuck to a wall.
Not the rest of eternity.
Okay, they get stuck to a wall.
He looks a little mortified by that.
Hopefully he knew.
It's alright,
that
I pat him on the
growing
back and say, this is why I always took you to the Feast of Tempest, and I took you to the ceremonies.
Yes, I do remember the ceremonies. Very vividly, Mother.
Yes, so...
up. The Feast of Hammers.
Mm-hmm. So
The
until
Battle of Bread.
Yeah, exactly. See, you're coming up with so much better ideas than I am. And so I will tell him if you choose to follow someone else, that is your prerogative. At the moment, unless you've chosen something else, I'm assuming you're still somewhat associated with Church of Tempest, so do you know someone who is faithless?
We lost a party member about 3 months back, and they weren't necessarily faithless, but didn't really worship. Like, they knew the gods were there, but didn't really... Like, they knew the gods were there, but didn't really do the prayers or anything. So what happens in that case?
I feel like the gods of Faerun are very open in a lot of cases. In some cases, I guess.
Depends on the god.
Depends on the god.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. So
And a lot of people don't necessarily worship one god as, pay things
Worshipping
to
one
very-
god is probably the exception. I mean, it's a very polytheistic religion. You have gods of the hunt, you have gods of love, gods of the hearth. Very few people would be aligned to worship one god their whole life. Most people...
Celestine.
Right,
Yeah.
Celestine.
You
Celestine.
are
But yeah.
part of the clergy of said god,
Right.
so that makes sense.
Whereas most
It is
people
literally my
would
job.
probably, they have, kind of the way I've tried to depict my characters. He grew up in Baldur's Gate, so things like Baal's blood is an expletive that he uses because Baal is a very prominent god in Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you just reference the gods, and references to the gods are part of your life. If you're going to harvest, then the harvest god is something that you pray to, but then when it comes time to sow, there's probably a god of sowing and,
Mm-hmm.
planting. And so I suspect that most people are polytheistic, given the polytheistic nature of the realms.
Mhm.
So I'll explain that to Court, just explaining how it's actually... He probably had some association with some gods, and I'll tell him how I've met quite a few people who... I mean, he's got Celestine as a mother. I'm sure his idea of what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to worship is very, very skewed.
Yes.
And
this,
so I'll
you get the
explain this
sense-
concept to him where it's like, normal people don't do what I've taught you. They usually go to ceremonies twice a year. Totally not Easter and Christmas.
His shoulders relax and he looks a lot more relieved. He looks
Mhm.
very relieved. Yeah, we lost Rue and lost him to some goblins on the road.
Yeah, they can be tricky.
And I was worried about him. Where he's going when he was gone.
Well, you can always pray for his soul, and unless he was actively fighting against the gods, I think he should be fine.
Thanks, Mom. Sorry for, he kind of wipes his eye a little bit. This is morbid. How are you doing on your investigation? Have you learned anything? Have you done anything? What's happened today? I'm sure did you have a boring day?
Oh yeah, so boring. Would you like some cookies?
Actually, yeah. He tastes them and he goes, these are almost good as Dad's. Not fresh butter though.
I know. I told the
they
baker
were made
that.
with dark magic.
I just see comes from the other room.
Court looks up mortified. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize there was anyone here. And he looks kind of embarrassed.
Apparently my companion has really good hearing. Smack the wall.
He's blushing. He's like, rubbing his face. Takes another bite of the cookie. They're still good, though.
I guess. Not as good as your father's.
Absolutely not.
So I will explain a little bit of what was going on because he is an adult now and he's in this, so he's got to know some of the harsher points of life, which include being kidnapped and kept by weird old ladies in the basement of bakeries.
By the end of this story, he's eaten through half the cookies. It was a pretty big bag. He's eaten through half the cookies.
One, right?
Yeah, he's eaten through all half the cookies, and he's just like wrapped. Somehow he got a glass of milk, and he's just dipping the cookies and listening to your story.
Mm-hmm. I'm sewing up the habit. It takes actually that, and I don't know if I can't remember how many habits I've broken at this point. And so we're going through anything and mending.
Okay. He just says, we're leaving tomorrow morning. I just wanted to say goodbye. I haven't seen you in a few months, and I just wanted to tell you I love you.
I love you too, Court. And I give him a big, giant hug and tell him to be safe. And I hand him the letter, actually, that I wrote, and I told him, ironically, when I heard that you were poisoned, I was writing a letter to you and your sisters.
Oh.
So take this with you, and on one of those nights where it's just, you're feeling really lonely, you can pull it out.
Thanks, Mom. And he sheepishly goes into his bag and he says, I wrote you 1, 2.
Aww.
Here you go.
Such a sweet, loyal son.
All right, well, we're going to head back tomorrow and I'll say hi to Dad for you.
Thank you, and your sisters.
Oh, of course.
Tell that you have to go visit your sisters.
Fine. I'll go say hi.
Ooh, I give him the letters, so I don't have to mail. I don't remember if I mailed them already. I don't think I have. If I haven't mailed them, I give them to Court.
Okay. And if you have more letters, right?
Maybe. Probably. It's been a busy day.
Yeah. He stays a few more minutes, does the pleasantries and says, okay, love you, Mom, bye. I'll see you soon. Stay safe. May Tempest be with you always.
May Tempest be with you and guide your footsteps. And your sword arm.
And he walks away. So is there anything else you guys would like to do tonight before you go to sleep?
I think Lilith goes outside and after some catching dinner and such, which he plans to bring home to share with his friends, and I'm going to give them, the best rats that I can find. But also is going to take time to, can't think of the right word, but give obeisance to, the various spirits and gods in this city. Kind of things. Little things that it's not like a big deal, but he goes about and makes this a part of his life.
Okay.
So as the sun's down and such, but he comes back.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else they want to do?
I'll be doing spell slots, but that'll probably be in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. Usarker.
Yes.
You wake up in the middle of the night, and your heart is pounding.
Excellent.
It feels like you're having a minor heart attack.
Oh, good.
It is searing. It is painful. And
Do I die?
yes, you instantly die. Someone power word killed you and you're dead.
You don't need to be power killed if a heart attack got you.
Is that what that blue thing was? It was a delayed power word kill.
No,
Just waiting until you were under 100 hit points.
Oh, gosh. Took this long.
Yep.
It has some sort of funny criteria because I've been knocked down a few times and
Yeah.
put up towards death's door a few times. That I think the Geiger counter's broken.
Yeah. It was a wayward power word kill from someone. No, you do not die. Your heart is pounding and it's hard to breathe. You suddenly get a flash of a lake, and the lake is filled with blood. And inside this lake, you see the face of a skull, and the skull turns to look at you, and then you're back to where you are. You feel like you have just lost a few days of your life from this.
Man.
What's that line from Princess Bride? I've just taken 10 years from your life.
Right.
Oh, yes.
How do you feel?
How do you feel?
Go ahead and do a family history check. That would be a history check.
Ladies and gentlemen of the audience, that is a 10.
As you're sitting there gasping and clutching your heart, you remember some of your family members explaining that their heart started to give out very early on in their life. And the first sign was fatigue. And the second sign was waking up gasping from weird hallucinations.
The famous Von Pride weak heart.
And their heart started to fail them.
Apparently there's some sort of curse or something that literally attaches itself to your heart.
Gods.
That can be seen, though. It's not genetic.
I think that he was hallucinating.
So you are able to get back to sleep and you get a full night's rest.
I think that this experience would probably disturb him a bit.
Okay.
And he will spend, I don't know what time it is, and he doesn't know what time it is, and so he'll spend a long time working in his journal, and he'll write about what he saw and draw some pictures of it, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Record it in detail, record the symptoms, record some incredibly morbid thoughts on impending death and the finality of all life as it marches on towards oblivion. That sort of thing. A little bit of, light poetry and the like.
Okay. Quick question. Does Usarker actually believe there's a curse? Or does he believe it's a story?
If there was a curse from a goddess a long time ago, then there is no hard evidence of it. And any hard evidence that used to exist has been clouded in fantasy and fiction and myth. Old King Pride may have actually existed, but whether he offended Mistra, the world may never know. And I think that for myself, I kind of treat it as such. I don't take a official stance, or even a private one, personal one, on whether it did or did not happen. I just say, it's unknowable. And as such, I leave it as is, and I acknowledge that our family does die swiftly, and death comes early. Whether that is from a curse or from some other malady is irrelevant, perhaps. That said, we don't have any fondness for Mistra.
The morning comes, you eat some breakfast, and you all level up to level 4.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And that's where we're going to end our session.
Sweet. Thanks, everyone, for listening to this episode of Power Word Crit. Be sure to stay tuned for more adventure on powerwordcrit.com or find us on your favorite podcast streaming site. And now, one of our PSs.
I am dreaming again. In Pride Manor, dreams have always been considered important. My great-aunt, Esmeralda, however, was always the most enthusiastic living member of the family in this regard, believing that dreams were an opportunity to learn of and explore the universe. She used to prepare incense and elixirs which would induce deep slumber and the most vivid of dreams. Aunt Esmeralda would then pressure various family members, myself included, into imbibing her concoctions so she could guide us through a dream quest, as she called it. This dream reminds me of her, because it's a dream I have visited before, many, many times of late, and I fear that my mind may have some meaning. I am in the family mausoleum, buried beneath the family home. The mausoleum always scared me as a child, a labyrinthine expanse slowly worming its way into the earth and stone of Baldur's Gate. As a child, it seemed to be a living thing, a cancerous tumor grafted from its homeland into the poisonous, but fertile Patriarch's district of the Upper City. With each family death, the sepulchral tendrils of the mausoleum burrowed deeper, newest inhabitants of the gloomy, narrow corridors by necessity being placed lowest down, so as not to violate the family's property's zoning boundaries or disrupt their noble neighbors. Each generation of prides digging further, deeper in their need to secure for their corpses a resting place. Somewhere in that light-hating domain, my Aunt Esmeralda claimed was the entrance to the Dreamlands. But that entrance was not simply a door or other mundane apparatus. No, that would have been too easy. Instead, the key to 1,000 lifetimes was hidden within the age-old pattern which the aspiring dreamer must walk. The mausoleum was crafted with the same air of profound, self-important decadence as the rest of the home, and the cleaning staff were routinely hired and sent down to attend to those claustrophobic halls, as though someday, when death itself had died, the assembled prides would all arise in great procession and leave. Despite this extravagance, the journey through them was so much of the same that it dulled the senses. Though I never could fully erase a certainty of crawling dread that would stalk my rare trips down those halls. My aunt's voice guides me now in this dream. I can't make out what she says in her nasally drone, which should come to me from the waking world while I lay in drugged stupor, but somehow I know that she is willing me on to the Dreamlands. I twist and I turn, all sense of direction and hope of success long since muted in the browns and grays of squat stone gargoyles, gold-chased coffin lids, and the occasional garishly painted totem of unknown origin and design, imported by this or that relation of mine, with a more than usual interest in the bizarre. Of a sudden, Esmeralda's voice becomes clear. "Now, nephew, you approach. Come, do not delay. Empyrean fields of experience and lifetime await you. More adventure than can be held in a continent of libraries, and the truth of things never guessed at by the waking. At once, I come to a great black gate. I know this gate. I've dreamed of it before, but with the impossible logic of dreamers, it is a knowledge that does not exist. Perhaps cannot exist in my waking world. I pause at the gate, overcome by a horror as yet nameless but not without form. There's a sentinel here, blacker than black against the shadow that was the whole form of this yawning hole, impossibly placed in my family crypt. I recoil from the shape, as upon seeing it I seem to have beached the vessel of my dreaming mind upon a shore of horror. Her voice calls again. "I'm waiting for you, boy. You have the gift. I know it. I would speak with you. I have much to tell you that the sensate mind cannot grasp. Do not concern yourself now with soon-rotted glories of your waking flesh and bone. We are made of greater dreams." I am ill with fear, and all but filled with a rationally irrational desire to flee up the winding path and back to the waking world. But I am also curious, and that almost draws me onward, for my aunt's voice is not coming from her chair, hunched over my bed, guiding me through the quest, but rather it is coming from before me, from within the black portal. Mercifully I wake up. As is the case with many dreams, the high flights of fancy are banished by the solidity of reality, and I can but hardly remember of what I dreamed, though I know for certain that it frightened me, and that it had somewhat of a lure too. My mind thinks fondly back to my Aunt Esmeralda, though I'm not sure why. She was obsessed with dreams, so much so that one day, 3 years ago, we awoke to find that she had passed. Not from the usual swiftness of age that was our legacy, but from an overdose of her own concoctions. She had sought her dreams, and the instrument of her quest had killed her. Her still warm body did not seem to mind this. There was a rictus of rapturous delight upon that face, and my cousin Florentine asserted that it was unlikely she even knew she had died.